Question 3 focuses on the marketing components of your business. Question 3A, who are your target markets and how do you identify them? Consider the following: origin, age, income, employment status, gender, travel party interests. Use graphs or pie charts. As you see, we've got one up there for you. Try to provide examples of research feedback, data, focus groups, emerging markets, current market changes, and how do you know that these are your current markets and how these are your changes and things. Mentor tip at this time: when writing a submission, demonstrate innovation in marketing and how the business embraces new technologies and social media. It's also important to emphasise the role staff play in marketing the business, making the business what it is.
Can I just add a point there, Chris? With some of the mentees that I've worked with, sometimes this question, the questionnaire can get quite complicated because you try to include too many target markets and you kind of drill down to maybe a market that's, maybe 1% of your business. And my recommendation is that you focus on the most important. So I'm not saying put a limit of 5 on it, but just really have a look at it, because in the question that follows, you have to, you've got to back it up with the marketing strategies and the success of that. So you're better off doing less but better, rather than including 10 target markets and having them really thin in terms of strategies and outcomes.
I'm here from Australia, and we're quite lucky that we target lots and lots and lots of different types of markets. So in the past, we've been, a few comments from the judges have been more information about who you're targeting, or is it, I can put down a couple of pages of, are they, like today we had a bunch of from Magic 1278, so none of them are working and they're not typically, but they are a little bit who we target. So I guess when we talk about, on the slide before it said origin, age, income, employment status, how much information are you looking? Are we talking Roy Morgan segments? Like, what do you guys need as, I know you just said the key ones, but when you've got lots of different key ones, can you give a little more info on that? Just give me some guidance.
I think from my opinion, I'd say it's going to rely on the next question. So it needs to relate. So if you're using Roy Morgan, then are you basing your marketing strategies around the same categories, and that's how you're approaching it? And so using those same features. So that's certainly one thing I would suggest is make sure that whatever it is and how you segment it matches your marketing strategies and the tools you're using to go out as well and capturing it. So if it's just age and gender, then how are you translating around the social media? It might be so making sure that that's linked into however you. Yes, I can imagine you've got lots of ways you could slice and dice your markets, but then just choose the way that works for you and it ties to your marketing strategy as well.
It comes back to Michelle's comment about risk. You can't put all that to be there. And also don't prescribe the Roy Morgan. Don't waste time going into it. In certain cases you'll see people spend half a page telling us what we already know. It's about distilling the essence of it.
But I think that's really important too, because nationally there may not necessarily be the same understanding of that segmentation tool. So pull out the key characteristics. So it might be visible achievers, for example, who are aligned to adventure, or something like that, that makes sense, and you can reference where that comes from. Yeah. And I think there's sort of creative ways you can look at segmenting your market. So if there's some consistency, say, around groups, maybe you could have a heading group, and then within that, you could then prioritise some things under that, for example. And then you could just focus on the top 3 and then do a summary statement, which says we also get a wide variety from across here, and we make sure that our strategies target them or they leverage off the other ones that you're going to be talking about. So you can still sort of acknowledge them. It's just being creative, I guess, how you present them and making sure the detail around the strategies and where your best outcomes are come in the next question.
So moving on to part B of this question actually does then look back at how you actually market to these segments. So describe the marketing strategies used to attract each target market and detail the success outcomes of these strategies. So both these last 2 parts are both worth 6 points. So use of a table can help facilitate answering this question. Refer to target markets as mentioned, product, price, place, promotion, whether it's print, digital or broadcast.
It's really important there in the outcome column that everything is measurable, and the judges will pick you up on that. So when you're rereading it, go through and say if there's a figure in there, an increase by X% or bookings increased from X to X from last year to this year. So everyone or every strategy or tactic has to have an outcome, a measurable outcome, and so it applies to the business section as well.
And you can add to that too, if there's a reason why you haven't got the outcome that you wanted, Obviously, you can refer to that here. We had an example where the China market fell out for a while in where I was working, so we weren't getting the numbers that we wanted there, for example, but in the same period we did develop a new tour. So we just showed how we responded to that, for example. So you don't always have to have 20% up, but if you can show that you're responding, or there's reasons for why that happened, did something happen, was there a cyclone or a tornado that went through, and so the rooms were closed that weekend, that's going to have an impact on your business, but there's a reason for it. It's not that your marketing strategies weren't appropriate.
Part C of this question looks at what is your distinctive difference and how do you promote it to your target markets. I suppose one of the trip-up points in this question is your people using the word unique. Unique selling point. If you are unique, make sure you can back it up for whatever reason you are unique, whether it's you've won your local, you're claiming that you're the best accommodation in the Dalesford Macedon Ranges, just don't state that. Make sure you actually have won an award in some category or got something to actually substantiate your actual uniqueness, whatever it might be. What does make a difference? Relate it back to your target markets again, so refer it back to where you actually have come from in the first half of this question. But what's your different message for each market that you may not have? Let's go to Tom, I suppose. Anything you want to watch out for with this question that can trip people up apart from that unique point?
Well, I think the main thing you're saying is that it is unique, and we all know that your staff are unique in your businesses because everyone's told us every year for the last 27 years. We'll put that down as a gimme, a lay down misère. Your staff are unique. Build on that. Why are they unique? What do they? And people speak about their staff a lot, especially in other questions, because they are, as we understand in this industry, the critical element in your businesses. But it is challenging because, as Chris was saying, sometimes we think we're unique and really we're just doing what everybody else is doing. So back it up. Have you won an award? What have we done? What's that little bit extra we've done? And do some market research. Get out there and have a look around at similar businesses as your own. What are they doing? And what are we doing? And then you'll see that something you accept as just being a standard, in actual fact, is quite unique. Because you do it yourself, you don't know it's different until you've actually gone out and seen what your competition's doing. And then you go, oh, we do that so much better, or we do this, or we do that, or I better take that and I'll use that in my own business. So that's a bit of your market research, but it'll also make you clearly understand where you are distinctively different from another business.
And I guess on that, see, it's interesting you say that about staff, because often we all talk about our friendly staff being the difference, because our staff are friendly and no one else's staff are friendly. And, you know, how can you quantify that? But then also, how would you use it in your marketing? So if, particularly in tourism businesses, you are talking about the people and the service that you get, this is then asking how then do you promote it to your target market. So one thing, you've got to justify why it's distinctive. So why are your staff friendlier than others, for example? So that is a tricky one. But yes, then how are you communicating? Is it with imagery? Is it through some third-party endorsement that is supporting you, those sort of things. So it's not just your distinctive difference, it's then how you're using it in your promotional strategies.
So question 3 does have a part D, so hopefully you've still got the energy to go with question 3 after the first 3 parts. Demonstrate your potential visitors. Demonstrate how your potential visitors are provided with an accurate and responsible depiction of what to expect from the experienced product. So worth about 4 points. So worth 4 points. So again, it's about a page and a half worth of writing there in terms of how you got to do this. So third-party endorsements are always good. TripAdvisor, which we've mentioned a couple of times already, include those quotes throughout, whether it be at the bottom or within your text. Your booking forms and itineraries. How do you keep information up to date? Examples that clients' expectations were met.
So a satisfaction survey, if you haven't done one, is something you've still got time to do now, and that's just basic few questions. You know, how satisfied were you with this experience? Would you come back? Would you recommend us to others, for example? And a couple of graphs or some of the ratings from that. It's just if you haven't done that before, there is still time in this financial year to obviously do it, and it's very useful in this question.
Survey Monkey online, free service.
Yep. Or even when people leave on exit, can I just quickly ask you something like that?
Yeah, And I'll say this is again another question which will make you think hard about your business, and think deep, and it presents an opportunity to think about, is there something different that you're doing? Because there'll be lots of very similar answers through here. So again, dig deep, think hard about what is it. Is it the style that you take a query call in, and is there something particular about that approach that you've got? So just have a think, because it's a great opportunity. There is time to find that thing, you know, in a few months. So if you didn't find that added element, this is an opportunity to stand out from the rest when answering. I find something that answers this question in a different way to others.